Hello, and a massive hello to everybody. How we all doing? This is 50 pips rocking and rolling, 16th of August, 2015. Not making any trade calls or recommendations because you're only responsible for the trades you may decide to take. The fact you're listening to this means you've read to understand you accept all the disclosures, disclaimers on the blog, understanding that we're just performing some technical analysis in a learning context for educational purposes only. So hope everybody's having a great overall summertime. We've been off for about a week and we're back in action. And what's going on? Hope everybody's having a great weekend, by the way. So we're going into this new week, and still, I think, globally speaking, we can still call it summer trade, but we should see some action. See, there's some interesting data points. We got that GDP out of Japan starting on Monday, some light data points. Then on Tuesday is going to be interesting to see. We've got that monetary policy meeting minutes out of Australia, and the CPIs out of UK, building permits out of US, and we got that GDT price index out of New Zealand. So again, Tuesday should be an interesting day to see what happens on some of the commodity currencies, especially after all the nice little surprises we've had out of China basically last week. Wednesday, again, we got CPI, core CPI out of the US. We got the FOMC minutes. Thursday, we've got some more Japanese data with that monetary policy statement. Again, we got retail sales. We got that Bank of Japan press conference. So we're going to have Kuruda on the dance floor, tap dancing away. Let's see what he gives us. And then we got some data out of Canada, unemployment claims, Philly Fed out of the U.S. And that'll take us into Friday, which usually tends to be a light data day. But we do have quite a lot of stuff coming out because we got that PMI out of China. We've got all the PMIs basically coming out of Europe and CPI out of Canada, core retail sales out of Canada. So even though it's a summer month, a lot of people, a summer week, a lot of people will still be off. We got some decent data points, and we should start to see some more volumes coming back next week. So again, always consider it summer trade. It's not the kind of market you want to be levering up like a crazy man or a crazy woman. You never really want to do that. So usually you'd want to trade a bit smaller than usual, and keep in mind that you could see a lot of air pockets hit in the market to the upside and the downside. Usually what it means, unless it's something substantial, price will tend to go back to where it was before the air pockets. But apart from that, you just want to be patient, okay? So what's going on? So if you're looking at the charts, not an awful lot's happened, right? Of course, a lot of people made money, a lot of people lost money, a lot of people were off on holiday taking some rest and refresh time. If you look at cable, we're broadly speaking still stuck, right? So no big surprise to us. We said unless we get something fundamental out, we'd expect to see a lot of wheeling and dealing, a lot of choppy action, right? All these moves, we call them fake outs, sub 55, giving us a nice opportunity to try and play a summer range bound trade to get long, and all those attempts to break back above into those 77s and 57 failures, giving us a chance to get short, just to stay in a summer range. So not an awful lot has happened. If you look at it here, it looks like it's coiling to trade higher. It will depend on what comes on the wires, but technically speaking, you could probably make a pretty good case for the upside or the downside. No big change for us. We still expect GPB apart from USD to stay bid. So our preferred play is to play that bid tone on GPB against the euro, at least from a structural play. But here it looks like it's going to try to continue to rotate higher. Now, it's not an AAA setup because of this choppy range and this choppy sideways action here. So we're not uber bullish, but if we'd have to tilt one way, we tend to the bullish side. But we wait for a much better entry rather than to try and buy highs. But we'll have to wait and see. But a lot of chop here. Ultimately, we'd expect this to break higher. A lot of support to the downside with its two moving averages, 100 trying to cross the 200 here on the daily. That's pretty much where we are. I really haven't touched the charts. It shows you everything's pretty much in range. We got Aussie, again, pretty much stuck here. A lot of wheeling and dealing. Some moves down last week, but globally speaking, nothing's happened. The support's held. We took out some weak stops here. If you're around, very nice long opportunity with fairly tight stops below the 7200, looking for that to hold to move right back into those 74s. A lot of people saying we're obsessed with the 74s. We're not really obsessed about the 74s. We just like the 74s because it's the pivotal level for Momo and flows. So bearish below, bullish above, on a hold above, especially after all these fake outs where our outlook up before China came out with those presents or causing a bit of pain here and there. We'd expect this to take out the 74s and go to the 75s. We had a minor setback, but still didn't manage to take us out. So our outlook again is repeated tests of 74 for a potential quick move to the 75, right? Just trying to keep it very, very simple. You see even EJ is pretty much stuck in that pivot, in that chop range. Not an awful lot's happening. Very nice little action on silver. We finally got a little bounce on the commodities. As we always said, you know, when everybody starts to talk about commodities going to zero or silly levels, we get interested to try and play the upside tactically. A nice little move up. We're still stuck here. Very range hasn't changed. Range is 14, 16, 18. We're still stuck unless we trade back above the 16. Probably hold a bit of a bearish tone. We need to get back above 16 to see this a bit more bid, but trying to hold those lows. Gold, as we said, you could probably make a pretty good case for either side, up or down. We prefer the upside, but we were inside this choppy range here. What we said is, for us, the tell is going to be the first close, right? Either we get a daily close below this low or below the 50 back, right? And then it should continue to hold heavy, or we start to get the daily closes above the 1100 and we'd expect to see a move back up. You see we got some choppy closes below here, didn't really get any traction. The first daily close back above here, we got that Momo to the upside. Again, I think a very tricky pair to play if you're trying to trade very tight. We don't like to trade these tight, but as long as we hold above the 1100, we'd expect 1150s to come into play. We consider this a failed break of range, so range for us is still 1200, 1150, 1100, no change. Okay, I'm going a bit quickly here. I just want to cover a bunch of stuff, right? So S&P, not an awful lot going on. Guess what? Surprise, surprise, we're still stuck in the range. Our outlook hasn't changed. Looking for tactical shorts at highs. A lot of very nice opportunities to play the downside with tactical shorts at highs. Again, it's still bouncing at a pivotal level, 1250. We said we'd be covering into that every time we press into that, maybe to reload higher, unless it's a knife through butter kind of trade. The way this is trading here, absolutely nothing has changed for us. 2100 pivotal level into the week. Right, bull bear line, big bull bear line going into the week. The way this is coiled off this 1250 and the way this is trading, it looks like it has some unfinished business at the 2100 or higher. So I would expect this to try and take a press higher. I'm really not going to try to run after this at highs. I'm looking for tactical opportunities to sell. I wouldn't be surprised if we keep on seeing some presses up here, through this week, maybe end of August, but then sometime in September we start to roll back down. Again, I'm looking for tactical opportunities to get short. No real reason for me to get aggressively long at here, but I know this could be very aggressive. So as long as we're in mid-range, as long as we're hovering around this level, there's not an awful lot of edge unless you want to widen up your stops and cut your size a little bit. Same thing on yen. Yen, we've pretty much stuck here. Not an awful lot going on. Those 2500s are pretty much pivotal. 12500 pivotal. Aussie's still stuck here. We took out some stops, but couldn't get any traction. So it's really all about those 6500. That's the big bull bear line. We'll have to see with that GDT price on index coming out. NASDAQ, again, very similar to the ES. We've got that pivotal level. The chart is up on the blog. Just hit me up on Twitter if you want me to post any of these charts. Again, I'll post them up on the blog this week. What else have we got? Euro GBP, very nice action. What we said is, no big surprise. We're structurally short here. We're looking for this to ultimately try and move back down into the 67.20, 64s kind of level. But what we said here, we had a pivotal level here, and this could be a nice place to try and play a little bounce. And, unless we got daily closes below this spike low that was set, we'd expect this to try and make a run back up somewhere into the 72.50s, 72.60s, to then maybe come all the way back down. Again, I'm not a huge fan of drawing these kind of patterns because it looks like somebody's got a crystal ball or is trying to make up something, but I'm just trying to explain or give some kind of an idea. We're not saying it's going to reach this level to the pip and then go down, but it's just if it can't hold here, we'd expect some kind of bounce. We'd expect, at least if the move is aggressive, this previous support to act as resistance, so sellers to come in off that level and to try and press the next move down. Now, if the sellers can't hold it below the 72.60s, then I think the retracement will no longer be shallow. You could see a bigger retracement, and that could bring it all the way back up into the 77.50s. That doesn't mean that it's any less heavy. It's just retracing a little bit more, but that's the key level to watch on this Euro GBP. What else have we got in here? Euro, again, not an awful lot going on. We're still stuck in this range, and we'd expect this to stay in this zone for pretty much most of the summer, maybe even most of the year, depending, unless we get something big, aggressive out of Greece or out of Yellen. But nice longs off those, holding those longs all the way back into high range. Right here, it's just hovering here. Again, look at that, broadly speaking, that 1100 to be the pivotal zone. But again, something fundamental has changed for us to try and break outside of this zone. All things being equal, it's starting to look like it's getting some kind of bullish Momo. So as long as it tries to hold above and we get daily closes above 1110s or 1070s, we could be trying to make a move back to the upside of the range. But again, I think it's very choppy. There's not an awful lot of edge. The big trades are already placed. You just have to let it play out. A lot of choppy action, a lot of air pockets here. Canada, again, we'll have to see what happens on crude. 31 pivotal for Momo and flows, right? Big Momo line, it's still holding that highs as far as we're concerned going into this week. This is the bull bear line. Daily closes below 31.00. Heavy, looking for this to try and make a move all the way back down into the 28.50s. It's going to need some help from crude. If not, if we daily closes above the 31.00, and again, keep in mind, we got a lot of CAD data coming up this week. We'd probably expect this to try and make another stab at those highs. We'll have to wait and see what's going on, right? These are just some equities we've been looking at. So that's pretty much where we stand, guys, okay? I just wanted to try and cover as many things as possible, right? So let's see what's going on. Keep in mind, again, you probably won't have full liquidity in the market, so you could get a lot of air pockets in the market, things popping up and down and then reverting right back down. Keep in mind that in this kind of action, what's important is hold above, below key zones, key ranges, key levels, not necessarily if we pierce them, okay? So guys, I wish you an awesome end of the weekend wherever you may be. It might already be over, or again, an awesome week. I'll see you around. I'll be back posting on the blog and on Twitter, so have a great one. Lovely to be back. Missed you guys. Bye-bye.